Hello, everyone. My name is Crystalline Shelton. I'm going to be your instructor for today. We are going to give it another few minutes to allow people to go ahead and log in before we get started. For those of you just joining, thank you. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. We just want to give a few more folks time to log in. In the meantime, if one or two of you wouldn't mind putting in the chat whether or not you can actually see my screen where it says get started with QuickBooks Online. The rest of my team is on audio, so just want to confirm you guys are able to see my presentation before I get started. Oh, thank you so much, Patricia. So chat is disabled. Good to know. Can you see my screen? I guess if you can type in the Q&A, that would be awesome. Speaking of Q&A, I would love for you guys to put your questions in the Q&A as I'm going through the presentation is fine. And then we have plenty of time set aside towards the end of the presentation. I'll make sure that all your questions are answered. So one of the participants was nice enough to let me know chat is disabled, but you can put your question in the Q&A section. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Patricia. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Right. I actually need to do one other thing real quick, guys. Sorry. All right, there we go. So welcome everyone to Get Started with QuickBooks Online. My name is Crystalline Shelton, and I will be your instructor for this webinar. We are very excited about the upcoming release of our latest book, Get Started with QuickBooks Online, the second edition. Before we dive in, I would like to introduce Ed Thaney, Managing Partner of Thaney and Associates. He will provide you with a brief introduction about our company.
Thank you, Crystalline, and hello, everybody. And thanks for joining today's webinar. My name is Ed Spaney, and I'm the president of TLR, as well as other entities that we operate. TLR is a publisher of QuickBooks training guides, and we have various editions. If you care to look into our website to see, we've also gone a little farther with specialized books, like the seminar you're seeing today, you're going to be involved with today with QuickBooks Online. We have other ones for law firms in accounting and construction industries, and we seem to publish anything that's needed with anybody starting up a business or whatever. Our parent company is Spaney & Associates CPAs. We're a CPA firm with 5 offices, 3 in Florida and 2 in New York State. We perform work for clients in over 36 states, currently tax, accounting, strategic planning, estate planning, auditing, and all other accounting services. We also own a company called Elite Business Solutions, where we offer virtual bookkeeping and CFO services for small businesses with bookkeepers and government accounting specialists throughout the country. Additionally, we own a franchise called Transworld Business Advisors, where we help clients that would like to buy or sell a business. We have certified valuation analysts on staff providing valuation services and due diligence work. Biz Collections is another entity we own, which is a third-party debt collection company assisting with bankruptcy alternatives and debt restructuring. And last but not least, we own Clear Choice Capital, which is a third-party small business loan agency, helping to facilitate SBA loans, equipment loans, lines of credits, and other business financing needs. I know it's a lot to swallow, so if anyone feels that they would like more information on anything mentioned here, please feel free to follow up and give us a call or an email. We offer complimentary consultations for anyone attending this seminar. And now I will let Crystalline take over and begin the deep dive into our webinar. Please enjoy and thank you.
Thanks, Ed. So I'd love to tell you a little bit more about myself, and then we will dive into today's agenda. I am the content strategist here at TLR, which basically means I'm responsible for keeping all of our QuickBooks textbooks up to date, as well as creating new books as needed. I joined TLR in August of 2019, and prior to that, I worked for a startup publication company for 3 years, where I wrote more than 150 how-to articles teaching small businesses about bookkeeping, accounting software, taxes. And I am a CPA. I've been certified in both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online for more than 10 years. And that's just about as long as I've been teaching QuickBooks in the classroom as an adjunct instructor at UCLA. All right, let's dive into our agenda for today. So today I'm going to give you an overview of our new textbook, Get Started with QuickBooks Online. As I mentioned, this is the 2nd edition. The 1st edition came out last year. This book, the case study for this book is a company called Luxury Lodging, Inc. And it is a company that's similar to like an Airbnb business. We will cover the benefits that are available with this textbook for instructors, students, as well as small business owners. I'll cover the key features included in the textbook. We'll give you a peek at the table of contents, and then we'll talk about the pricing that we have available. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, if you have any questions at all, feel free to put them in the Q&A section. The chat's been disabled, but you can put them in Q&A, and then I will absolutely get to those at the end of the presentation. We've got plenty of time for that. So here is our new textbook that will be published next month in December. It is a beginner's guide to QuickBooks Online. We've included really simple step-by-step practice exercises, both within the chapter and at the end of each chapter. For bookkeepers and accountants, it also includes the behind-the-scenes debits and credits for the transactions that are recorded so that you can have that information. For those who are not accountants, maybe you're a small business owner, or maybe you're brand new to the field, we've also included a chapter on accounting basics. So our case study, Luxury Lodging, Inc., is based on Larry Owens, who owns property in Texas and California that he rents to vacationers. The learners will play the role of a bookkeeper who manages Larry's books. And so your students or learners will have the opportunity to create a company file for Larry, enter income and expenses, run reports, and get hands-on experience with a lot of other features. Benefits for instructors. If you're an instructor like me who teaches QuickBooks Online, you can register for a free QuickBooks Online accountant account. In addition, you will gain access to the Intuit Educator portal. This portal is a fantastic resource for instructors. I will definitely show you that portal towards the end of the presentation, and I'll share with you how you can get registered for it. And we've also included this information in our textbook as well. As I mentioned, each chapter has practice exercises so that students get hands-on practice. We will give you instructors access to the answer key for all of the end of chapter exercises. And so the way you access the answer key is you need to sign up on our website as an instructor. And then once you do that, that allows you to actually place an order for any of our textbooks to get a review copy for free. And then you'll also have access to that instructor portal, which includes a lot of resources as well as the answer keys. And within this book, we've included a final project. And so that final project at the end of the textbook can be used as a final exam for your students to test their overall comprehension of all the concepts that they've been taught in the book. Benefits as a student. So for those of you that have taught QuickBooks Desktop in the classroom, you are familiar with the fact that students used to be able to get a trial software for probably a period of 3 or 4 months. Well, the nice thing about QuickBooks Online is students get access to a free trial for 1 year. So what I love about this is it gives the students a lot of time to continue to practice what they've learned long after, they leave your classroom. In order for students to complete the exercises in our textbook, they will need to be set up with a QBO account. Unfortunately, they will not be able to use an existing QBO account that they have. And what's nice about that is you guys as instructors actually get to give your students access to QBO. So there's no more waiting for Intuit to give the access. You as an instructor have been empowered by Intuit to give your students access to QuickBooks. And this is all done within the Intuit Educator portal that I'll share with you later on. One of the other benefits for students is anyone who plans to sit for that QuickBooks Certified User exam. We have covered the objectives for that exam in this textbook as well. Last but not least, benefits for small business owners. So if you're a small business owner, this guide is going to be great in assisting you with setting up your business in QuickBooks Online. It uses very easy to understand language, which means you don't need an accounting or bookkeeping background to understand the concepts taught. We've also included a whole chapter, as I mentioned, on accounting basics. And so it's just enough information that you need to understand what's going on behind the scenes in QuickBooks Online. And then finally, we've included tips on best practices where appropriate. So now let's talk about some of the key features you'll find in our book. So this is just an example of what the practice exercises look like. This particular example shows the student how to add a new account to the chart of accounts. So as you can see here, we've numbered each step and clearly identified that steps that need to be taken. And so that's what you'll find throughout the book. Here is an example of the behind the scenes for the transaction. So many of your students are accounting students, or they have entered the field as a bookkeeper, and it's important for them to know what the accounting that's taking place behind the scenes, what's actually happening. So this is just one example of how we share this example. This was a customer payment that was received. And so we have included in this book the journal entry that QuickBooks actually records behind the scenes when a customer payment is entered into QuickBooks. Notes and tips. So we found that providing notes, just giving some additional information to learners is very helpful throughout the book. And then we also have provided pro tips. And so anytime we provided a note or a pro tip, it's identified with these icons, as you can see here on the screen. And so we found that these have been helpful just to further deepen the understanding and the learning that's taking place. So here is a snapshot of the table of contents for our book. There are a total of 13 chapters. And as I've mentioned, each chapter includes practice exercises. So starting in chapter 1, we start out by providing some background information on QuickBooks Online. We even go into the differences between the online platform and the desktop platform, in case a learner is familiar with desktop and they're wondering what is the difference between that platform and this one. Then we go into some basic navigation within the program in the second chapter. And then we've got accounting basics that we cover, as I mentioned, in the third chapter. The fourth chapter is really where students will start to get that practice hands-on with setting up a company. So as I mentioned, they'll be setting up the luxury lodging business and going through the steps of what's necessary to get a company or a business set up in QuickBooks and just to customize the program for that business. The fifth chapter, we go into sharing what the chart of accounts is, how it works in the program, and how to add accounts and modify accounts when you need to. Chapter number 6 goes into how to add those products and services that a business sells and how to manage those if you need to edit information or delete a product or service, what's involved with that. Chapter 7 goes into how to manage users. So one of the benefits of using QuickBooks Online is it allows you to easily give access to other users. So as many of you are familiar with desktop, in order to actually take a look at someone's desktop file, they would have to send it to you, right, via email, or you'd have to have your students upload it to your learning management system and take a look at it. Well, with QuickBooks Online, because you're going to give your students access to QBO, you will automatically have access to their QuickBooks. And this makes troubleshooting, issues that they're having, or just being able to review their work very easy. So Chapter 7 covers how to give other users access to the data. Chapter 8 is all about the sales center. So we cover how to invoice customers, using a sales receipt or an invoice, how to record customer payments and apply those correctly, and then how to generate those reports to help you stay on top of accounts receivable, like your accounts receivable aging report. If you want to see sales by product or service, how to generate those types of reports. That's what's covered in Chapter 8. Chapter 9 is all about the vendor center, which means how to record those expenses, how to enter bills, how to look at and review the accounts receivable, or I'm sorry, the accounts payable report, and how to generate reports that show what the expenses are for a period of time and that sort of thing. So that's Chapter 9. Chapter 10 covers how to manage bank and credit card accounts. So similar to desktop, you can connect bank and credit card accounts to QuickBooks. And we talk about that in Chapter 10, and then how to manage those transactions once they're imported into the program. Chapter 11 is all about financial statement reports. So how to generate the profit and loss and the balance sheet, and a lot of the reports that help you to determine the overall health of a business we cover in Chapter 11. Chapter 12 is ideal for anyone who's in a situation where maybe you need to convert from an existing, maybe you have used another accounting software program and you want to convert to QuickBooks Online. There's a lot of people that are on QuickBooks Desktop and they might be looking to convert to QuickBooks Online. So we talk about or provide the students with a checklist of everything that needs to be covered when you're looking to enter that historical data and opening balances from like a previous software system. And then Chapter 13 is the final project that I mentioned, where students get to put everything together and practice what they have learned. And again, instructors, this can be used however you'd like. You can make it a final project, you can make it a final exam, that sort of thing. But it's a good overall way for you to determine if the student has grasped the concepts that were taught within this textbook. So get started with QuickBooks Online will be available next month. The purchase for this book, or the cost of the book, is $69. Now, this is the student's cost. As I mentioned, you as an instructor can request a free copy of this textbook when it's available by simply going to our website and signing up to be an instructor. Once you have instructor status, then you are allowed to go into our website and order any book for a free review copy. So here is the email address. This is going to be if you have students that want to pre-order the book, or if you have any questions after this webinar, we want you to go ahead and send them to sales@tlr-inc.com. So with that said, I'm going to take a look at the questions that we have so far. And then I still want to go ahead and share with you the instructor. Okay, so great. That's one of the questions. If someone wants to know, what is the instructor portal? Well, great question. Let's get to it. So let me go ahead and switch over to the portal, and then I'll go ahead and share again so I can just give you guys that aren't familiar with it a peek at that real quick. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I am now sharing the instructor portal. Hopefully everybody can see this. And so the instructor portal, this is our one-stop shop as instructors. We can come in here and create demo companies. So Intuit gives us a total of 5 demo companies that we can create. As you can see, I've created 3. So I have 2 more companies that I can create. The demo companies, typically you want to use, you want to create files that have data, because maybe sometimes you want to demonstrate some things to students live. And so it's nice to have a company file that has data. And keep in mind, Intuit already has a file that they provide to us with data in it, this QuickBooks Online Test Drive account. It's called Demo Landscape. But let's say maybe you want a demo company that's in a different industry, or it has, different types of things in it. Then we have the ability to create up to 5 demo companies as instructors here, which is nice. On the same page, you'll notice that they put a link here to the QuickBooks Certified User Certification. So that's the syllabus. It has the objectives for that certification. And then there's just a short video here to show you how the educator portal works. Now, if I go to the classes tab, oh, come on. Let's see if I can get logged back in here. When you go to the classes tab in the portal, this is where you can give your students access to QBO. And so the way it's done is you simply add your class. And so I'll walk through this just so you see how easy it is. So let's say I want to set up my class for the winter quarter, right? So cloud-based QuickBooks, winter 2023. So I would just put the name of the class there, and then I would click add class here at the bottom. And so immediately what pops up is the option to actually add a template here. So if you have all your students in a template similar to this, where it's their first name, last name, and email, then you can actually upload that whole roster here and then just add. If you don't have that, you can also add students manually here. So I'm just going to manually add myself so you can see how this works. And then I'll just put an email address here. And then I'll say save and close. If you're adding one by one and you have multiple students, you can say save and add another. So we'll save and close. So now you'll see that within this course, I have one student set up, which is myself. So the next step would be to give them access to QuickBooks Online. So to do that, you would simply click this box on the left and select this option that says send new company invitation. Okay, and so this is where, if you're using our textbook, you want to put the name of the company that the fictitious company that you want them to set up in here, Luxury Lodging Inc. You click next to preview the invite. And so this is the email that your students will see. They need to simply click accept invitation, and QuickBooks will allow them to create their own secure password. The user ID will be the email address that you use to send them the invite, and then they get to create their own password for the company file. And then they have access to QuickBooks. You as an instructor can edit this email content. So if you want to change up what's here, because typically I do that, you can absolutely do that. That's something that you can do. And then you click the send invitation to, and then it goes to the student. So I'm not going to do that, obviously, but I will show you what happens so that you know when a student has accepted the invite. So before the student accepts the invite, it will say invitation sent, like this. If the student says they didn't get it, you can click resend invitation, okay? But until they actually accept it, or once they've accepted it, I'm sorry, then you'll see a link to that file. So as you can see, I have all these students here. I can go into any of these files at any time. And what's nice is we're able to give students access to up to 4 company files. And so far I've done just a couple, but you can do up to 4 per class, per student, which is nice. And then the last tab here is simply just the demo companies, right? And so that's what I've done. These are my 3 demos. I have 2 more demos that I can set up. We've got a link here that allows you to reset that data. So if you've used all 5 of your companies and you're like, oh, I need another company, you can just reset data for one of these other ones that you no longer need, okay? But that's the Intuit Educator Portal in a nutshell. Let me get to a couple more questions here. So one question here that I see someone has asked is, what's the best way for me as an instructor to get up to speed on how to use QuickBooks Online? So as instructors, you guys know people have a lot of different learning ways that they like to learn. But I recommend that you can take our textbook and go through it as if you were a student, create the company file, and that's one way you can learn. I think that's a great way that you learn because you also can see what the students are going to encounter and be prepared for questions. Another way that you can also learn is tutorials. So within this portal on the homepage, if you scroll down, you'll see this link that says tutorials. Intuit has created quite a few video tutorials that show you how to complete basic things in QuickBooks Online. So those tutorials are always nice. I also actually copy and share those tutorials with my students because it's there's a way you can just copy the link here and you can actually upload it to your learning management system. And so I absolutely recommend that you share that with students. So I would say going through our textbook is great. Watching those tutorials is great. You know, similar to students, the more hands-on practice you can get, the better. Within your QuickBooks account, because as an instructor, not only do you get access to this educator portal, but you get access to your own QuickBooks account. So if you see this link here, your QuickBooks accountant, that's my account that I can go in and get some practice in. What's nice is they've also provided us with ProAdvisor training materials. So that's actually certification materials. If you as an instructor wanted to get certified in QuickBooks, I absolutely recommend it. You will learn a lot by going through the certification as well. Looks like another question popped up here. Awesome. So Patricia's asking, do we as teachers create the data for the demo companies? Great question. Yes, you do. So that's what I like about these demo companies is you get to create the data, which is nice. But if you didn't want to create a demo company and you wanted a demo company that already has data, then you can use this QuickBooks Online test drive company. As a matter of fact, a few of the exercises in our textbook use that demo company file. And so students can access this file as well. And so this demo company file is for a landscaping company. It has a bunch of data in it. As long as you stay logged into it, it saves your data. But as soon as you log out of it, everything that you've done goes away. And that's just because there's, thousands and thousands of people that have access to this. So they try to keep the demo company file as clean as possible. Okay. Great question, Patricia. All right, let's see. Let me go through these questions here. Okay, yeah, so Cindy, terrific question. Cindy is the director of a local small business development center and needs to teach businesses how to use QB. So she wants pricing for QuickBooks Online. Yeah, absolutely. I can. So basically, for your particular situation, we could probably put you in touch with somebody that can give you a bulk discount depending on how many accounts you need. But I'll connect you with a sales rep. If you want to, Cindy, go ahead and send an email to me. You can send it to us here at, oh gosh, let's see here. sales@tlr-inc.com. And then I'll definitely put you in touch with someone here. And Patricia, so basically the students use the landscaping file to practice, and this is in your book. So students will use a file, a QuickBooks Online file that you give them access to. Okay, so remember, you're going to give your students access to their own QBO file. And you get to determine, if you're using our textbook, then you'll call the company file luxury lodging, or whatever the company file is that you're having them use. So the landscaping demo file is probably used in the navigation chapter of our textbook and maybe in another chapter or two of our textbook. But the majority of the exercises will take place for the case study I mentioned, luxury lodging. And so that will require that they have, the QBO account that you set them up with so they can go through the exercises in the book. And remember, you can set up students with as many as 4 different QBO accounts, right? Or QBO company files, which is nice. Let's see. So hopefully, Patricia, that answers your questions. Yes, Cindy, I will put that email in here for you guys to reach out. Awesome. Let's see, I just want to make sure I've answered all the questions before we go. I've also gone through the transition of, moving from teaching desktop, right, in the classroom to online. And so I want you guys to know that you can reach out to me and I can definitely provide you with some tips on, how to make that transition. And, if you have any questions about that, I'm definitely a good resource for that. And I will also be happy to let's see if I can put this, I'll put my email as well in here. If you just want to reach out to me directly about those type of things where, you're putting the syllabus together, if you've got a question, or, how do I quickly get up to speed, or what about this? I'm happy to be a resource, definitely. When you sign up as an instructor on our website, you will also be added to our mailing list. And what's nice about that is you'll get our monthly newsletter. And within our monthly newsletter, we include a lot of great tips using QuickBooks. We typically highlight one of our textbooks because we've got several. And so it's a lot of good information for people who are teaching QuickBooks in the classroom or teaching small business owners how to use QuickBooks. Lots of great information in our newsletter. And our website is tlr-inc.com. When you get to the website, click on instructors, and there's a form that will pop up that will allow you to register as an instructor. And then once you do that, like I said, you can order any of our books in our library. You can order one copy as a review copy to see if you'd like to use it in your classroom. All right, you guys have some awesome questions. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, awesome. So it looks like I've answered all the questions. Again, oh, here we go. Let me see. Yeah, website and email address, sure, yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and pop that back up for you guys. Let's see. All right, so you should be seeing my slide now that shows the email address, sales@tlr-inc.com. And our website is www.tlr-inc.com. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out, and feel free to reach out if you have any follow-up questions. You will receive a copy of the recording of this video, along with a copy of our presentation today. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Crystal, and
Thanks,
thank you,
Ed.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.